The member for Monero, Nicole Overall, has been keeping an eye on the forecast and the planning and joins us this morning. Hello.
Good morning, Simon.
Thanks so much for joining us. Look, I guess it's pretty sad, really. New South Wales copying it again.
Yes, it really is, as if we haven't had enough to be going on with, and more of it, and very, very heavy rain expected into the weekend as well. So, yes, it would be great to cut a break, wouldn't it? So we go from drought to flood, but that's the wonderful country that we live in. So we've all just got to do what we have to do and pull together, and we'll get through it as we always do.
And, of course, it means more of a mess for the road network. The Snowy Monero Council told us it has more kilometres of road per resident than any other local government area in New South Wales. Do you think that there's going to be more assistance required from the state government to help councils keep up with potholes repairs?
Well, I think that we all know that our roads are already much affected, and none of this is assisting us going forward, because it's either impacting the work that we're already trying to undertake or undoing it in some places as well, and then making other areas more problematic. So despite the fact that the New South Wales government has invested a record $1 billion in regional roads alone, and that's over $70 million in funding for our Monero roads, yeah, we can't take our eye off the ball on this, and I am continuing to push to ensure that our local roads here in Monero remain a priority and focus, and I'll do everything I can to see more delivered for us, because that's what my job is. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing. I understand. I know that council is doing everything they can. They just commenced $3.8 million worth of upgrades, including to Springfield Road there between Nimittabelle and Snowy River Way. So all of this rain is going to get in the way of that work taking place and potentially impacting it too. So it's not doing us any favours, but I'll continue to do everything I can to make sure that it remains the priority and we get what we need.
Now, I'd like to get the latest from you on the plans for water treatment for Bombala and Delegate. I know you announced back in January that there'd been some progress when it comes to the concept plans, and it was over to council to go to tender. What's the latest now?
Yes, very exciting, and I think this may be a bit of a scoop, Simon. It's that we haven't even issued the media release on it yet. So two things on that. It's really exciting to say that the Bombala high-tech sewage treatment plant, the $14 million upgrade, has now been completed. So that's bringing our wastewater services for the town into the 21st century. And on top of that, we are now just announcing that the contract for the design and construction of 2 new state-of-the-art water treatment plants, which is for Bombala and for Delegate, have been announced, and Water Treatment Australia is going to be getting on with that $15 million investment, which is under the Safe and Secure Water Program, is going to see the water treatment plant for Bombala that's going to replace the existing infrastructure on the same site. So I think anybody who's been out there to Bombala knows how old and decrepit that current water treatment plant is. But it's also going to be providing a water treatment plant for Delegate, which is actually a first for the town, and then a treated water reservoir for Delegate as well. So I am very, very happy to be able to make that announcement this morning that Water Treatment Australia will be getting on with the job.
Fantastic. And what are the timeline for when you can turn on the tap and have crystal clear, clean drinking water in Bombala and Delegate?
Yeah, well, again, that's a really great question, isn't it, as we sit here under yet another heavy cloud cover. So it will be impacted by rain, no doubt, but they're going to be moving ahead as quickly as possible. The normal sort of construction phase for this type of major infrastructure is 18 to 24 months for full completion. So I'll be keeping everyone updated with progress, how we're going, and when we're going to have that clean, quality water out of the tap, without having to boil it or worry about funny tastes and odours. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on what's going on.
And now to the Snowy Mountain Special Activation Precinct. Anyone who wants to have a say and be a part of the Community Advisory Group has another week to express their interest in being part of that Community Advisory Group. How important is it to have members of that group who from the smaller towns around the region, not just Jindabyne?
Yeah, that's a really great question, Simon, and it really is important because, this is a 40-year vision, nearly almost $400 million being invested, and it's not just about Jindabyne, it is about our wider region because the impacts are going to radiate out, and I'm going to ensure that that is happening. We are all part of this journey and part of what's going to be unveiled and rolled out as part of that Snowy Mountains Special Activation Precinct. So I'm encouraging everybody, put yourselves forward. If you want to have that input, if you want to have that say, I'm really interested in listening to as many and as diverse opinions as we can possibly gain around all of this, how we do it to the best of the entire region, all of Monero. And so to do that, we have to have community members, individual community members, business owners, those interested in the future, and I think we're all interested in the future of this great place that we live and work and call home. So as you've mentioned, that is open until October 14th. People can submit an expression of interest, and it will be workshop style meetings and get-togethers that are going to concentrate on things like the growth and catalyst precincts and issues specifically relating to the Alpine region, but being able to encourage that feedback and support for how we best progress this extraordinary once-in-a-generation vision that we're going to see unroll before us in our great Monero.
And news broke last week that Jindabyne National Park staff had received a threatening letter, in fact threatening a firebomb, and of course that's been condemned by National Parks and the state government. It must have been concerning to you to hear about that as well.
Yes, and look, I'm not going to comment on it too much because obviously there is a police investigation underway, and rightly so. All I'll say is that there's absolutely no place for any behaviour of that nature at any time, and we're all fully aware of the heightened emotions around this matter. People need to calm down as we continue to find a balanced and rational path forward, and it's about ensuring that the management plan is enacted as committed to. That's what we need to focus on, and that's what everybody needs to continue to bear in mind.
And one other thing I'm keen to hear from you on, perhaps more in your role as a historian, as a member of Parliament, but Kuma, in its avenue of flags, flying the old South African flag, and it's come to attention recently. The apartheid-era flag, of course, controversial for a whole host of reasons, and now the council says it's engaging with the South African High Commission to discuss this. What's your view of it? I mean, some people say it reflects the flag that was, the national flag at the time, therefore it's just reflecting the history of the Snowy scheme, and others say, well, it's time to get rid of it, and acknowledge that some people find it offensive.
Okay, as the member for Monero, I've discussed this with Mayor Narelle Davis, and it is council, and the mayor has mentioned to me that yes, they're in discussions with the South African High Commission on this matter as well. From an historian's point of view, I understand the stance that they're taking, that it was at the time when Snowy Hydro was underway and construction, and we had, of course, countries from around the world who came and made our region home. So I can understand the point that they're saying, that at that time, which of course 1950s on, that was what the South African flag was. But as yet, I haven't heard back from the mayor what the South African High Commission's view on it is, and I'm happy to continue to have conversations with Mayor Narelle Davis about council's position on it.
Great. And she'll be on the radio this morning at 9:05. Hearing from Nicole Overall, the member for Monero, keeping an eye on the weather today, of course. And Nicole Overall, another thing we do on Thursdays here at ABC Southeast is a game called Brains Trust. Do you want to play along?
Absolutely, always.
What do you reckon a double escapement mechanism is? Have you ever heard of a double escapement mechanism?
I haven't, but could it possibly be how one gets out of Parliament question time?
Have you found where the secret door is, the side door, already?
hatch in the floor, perhaps.
Sounds like it could come in handy some days in the bear pit. Nicole Overall, great to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Simon.